Jumping jacks for this one. So nice and light on your toes and protect your knees. Your turn. Alright, working some high-pace squats. You can see Coach Levi is using his arms for momentum. Let's go. Gate swings for this exercise. So you can see you're jumping into a squat, using your hands on your thighs for a little bit of support, and then jumping back with your feet together. Your turn. Working some mini sprint steps using your favorite leg for the next 30 seconds. Your turn. Working some King Kong slams for the next 45 seconds. Your turn to try this one. Side leg raise from a 3 points position for this one. So you just got to make sure that the side leg raise is nice and perpendicular relative to your body. We just want to make sure that our foot is horizontal and our knees nice and straight for this one. Your turn to try it. Okay, for this one we're going to start seated on your bench, and we're just going to go straight into a get up with a pistol leg. So the pistol leg doesn't touch the floor throughout this whole set until it's time to change over and go with the other leg. Now try and keep as composed as you can. We're going to drop down slowly onto that bench and lift straight back up standing. Your turn to try this one. donkey kick from a 3 points position for this one. So very important, you're pushing up with your heel and you're finishing in what looks almost like a knee strike. The mistake most people make with this one is they start to kick back rather than kicking up. So make sure you're watching out for that one. Your turn. Legs extension for this exercise. Now, this is one of my favorite bench and floor exercises because if you're doing this one correctly, you're really going to feel it. I'm just starting in a plank position, and it's basically like a traditional plank from the bench, and I'm just allowing my knees to drop down to the floor, and I'm using that legs extension technique to pick me back up and put me back into that plank. Your turn to try it. Okay, dropping down into a wall sit for the next minute. So what we want to do with this one is you're dropping down much like a squat. You want to make sure you've got 90-degree knees and your spine's nice and neutral and you're nice and relaxed. And we're just going to get that squeeze of the quadriceps and glutes for the next minute. Your turn. Letter N sit for this exercise. So it's much like a V sit, except you've got your knees bent for this one. Now you can see I'm leaning back and I'm assisting a little bit with my arms, just pressing against the floor like that. And we just want to make sure that we're holding our position for the next 45 seconds. This one's going to be really tough on your hips. Working some circular knees from 3 points position for this one. So this exercise starts off much like a donkey kick. So you're pushing back and just keeping your knees nice and tight. And then we're circling out a big circle. So the circle's got to be maximum size that you can do. Let's work one side and then switch and do the other side as well. Your turn. Starting from what looks like a supine plank, we're going to work a crisscross. Okay, so all it is just opening those legs up. Knees have got to remain nice and straight, and just switching between which leg is on top. So it's basically like semicircles around each other. Make sure your lower back is pinned against the floor and your shoulder blades are lifted in order to protect your back for this one. And again, just making sure that the legs remain nice and extended. Your turn to try it. Okay, dropping down into a wall sit for the next minute. So what we want to do with this one is you're dropping down much like a squat. You want to make sure you've got 90-degree knees and your spine's nice and neutral and you're nice and relaxed. And we're just going to get that squeeze of the quadriceps and glutes for the next minute. Your turn. Let's grab a pair of dumbbells for this next segment. Okay, I'm going to use the tip of the bench for some dumbbell hips thrusters for this one. So we're going to place the dumbbell on your hip. We're going to start right at the bottom, so with your butt almost touching the floor, and then we're going to lift into what looks like a glutes bridge using the bench for that additional range. Push all the way up and then release again. Your turn. Front squat with a single dumbbell for this one. So you can see that I'm starting with my feet parallel at shoulder width and my knees are right over the top so they're not caving in or I'm not adding extra width to it. I'm holding the dumbbell right in front of me, just underneath my chin, and it's staying there. It's staying stationary throughout the whole exercise. As I drop down, I'm going to try and get my elbows to my quadriceps, which basically marks the perfect lower position in my squat, and then I'm going to lift straight back up. Your turn to try this one. Frog legs glutes bridge for this exercise. So starting with your feet together and your knees apart, we're going to lift right up into a glutes bridge as high as you can. So we want to try and hit that body triangle, and then return your butt all the way back down to the floor and lift again. Make sure you're keeping your knees as wide as you can throughout the entire lift. Your turn to try this one. Dumbbell Zercher squat for this exercise. So I'm starting with my feet parallel at shoulder width, and you can see that I'm holding the dumbbell in that Zercher hold the same way as you would if it was a barbell. I'm going to drop down and make sure my elbows get to my quadricep, and then I'm going to lift straight back up. Make sure you sustain a neutral spine and controlled movement. Your turn to try this one. starting lying down on the floor in a prone position, we're going to make sure that we've got our knees and feet together and we're holding up the dumbbell with the arch of our foot. We're going to go into some leg curls and we're going to make sure that we're getting 90 degrees of action as far as the movement is concerned. Make sure you keep pressing your feet together to keep the dumbbell nicely secured. Your turn to try this one. Okay, just working some hops or some bounces if you like in your fighting stance. So just pick your natural side and work with that. Now the idea is to keep your weight on your toes the whole time and just bouncing lightly back and forth. Your turn. Let's all run on the spot with high heels behind you for the next 30 seconds. Your turn. Front and back hops on the spot for the next 30 seconds. Your turn to try it. Okay, getting into some deep, slow squat for this one, and then on the way up, we're just gonna add a jump to it, okay? Now, just make sure you're fairly light on your toes, so just jumping and landing on the toes rather than the heels, because we just want to try and preserve the knees. Working your way all the way down again into that deep squat, and just keep jumping at the end of each squat. Your turn to try it. Getting into some rotating chops for the next 45 seconds. Your turn to have a go. Let's work some fast feet on the spot for the next 30 seconds. Your turn. Jumping into alternating lunges for this exercise. So you can see that I'm just jumping on the spot and just going from a left lunge to a right lunge. Now, what you've got to make sure you do is you've got to stay nice and light on your toes and try and keep a nice upright posture for this one. Your turn to try it. Well done for finishing your workout, guys. Please take a few minutes to stretch and cool your body down now. If you enjoyed this workout segment, please assist us by liking and sharing. Remember to subscribe for your daily workout fix.